The FBI now involved in an investigation into how those 250 ballots ended up in a woman's Amazon package in Newburgh.
This comes after Republicans in Augusta asked FBI Director Kash Patel and Attorney General Pam Bondi to investigate the matter.
It is true that the number of ballots missing in Ellsworth corresponds to the number of ballots received in Newburgh.
Meantime, the Trump administration is suing Oregon and the state of Maine because they say the secretaries of state failed to provide voter information.
And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that it helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, this is going to be the third Maine voting related story we've done in the recent weeks. The first story was about how the Trump administration asked Maine, or we can say demanded from Maine, to see their voter registration rolls. The Trump administration, as you know, from way back in 2020, Trump and his administration are concerned with voting and people who maybe shouldn't be able to voting, and just, they just want to absentee ballots. They just want to know about the voting. So they've been saying to certain states, hey, let's see those voter rolls. And Maine in particular said no. In fact, Shenna Bellows, who you're going to see in this video, she told Trump and his administration to go jump in the Gulf of Maine. Okay, so we covered that in previous videos. But after all of that, y'all, suspiciously, okay, very curiously, after all of that was already a thing and we covered it, a pack or several packs of ballots in Maine. You look on your screen, you're seeing them right now. This pack of ballots showed up in somebody's Amazon package, okay? Looks like a few packs of ballots there. Now, that is alarming. That is very alarming, right? Because right in the middle of the Trump administration asking for Maine's voting rolls, and there, I think it's the Attorney General saying, go jump in the Gulf of Maine, okay? And also in the middle of a very contentious question, which is going to be on the Maine ballot, about requiring IDs in order to vote. And you're going to see that a little bit later in today's report. So you have these two things happening. Trump wants to see the voter rolls. There's a ballot question about requiring IDs to vote in Maine. And in the midst of all this, you have these ballots that just show up in somebody's Amazon package. So now there's an investigation. This is a huge controversy. It's making national news, and we're going to cover the latest. The FBI is now involved in this investigation, and we're going to cover that now. So let's go ahead and jump into it. But before we do, y'all, make sure you take care of your money. I'm not going to make this a long one, y'all. Go to Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com, or call 844-651-8334, 844-651-8334. If you have $50,000 to $100,000 or more in your retirement, protected from inflation, protected from monetary debasement, you're about to retire. Make sure your money's still there and it's still worth something by investing at least some of it in gold. Talk to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals. Go click the link now, get the free information, and protect your precious retirement.
The FBI now involved in an investigation into how those 250 ballots ended up in a woman's Amazon package in Newburgh.
This comes after Republicans in Augusta asked FBI Director Kash Patel and Attorney General Pam Bondi to investigate the matter.
Our political reporter Jackie Mundry watching this one for us. She joins us now with the latest. And Jackie, I know you heard from the Secretary of State today.
Yeah, John, Megan, the investigation is still being led by the Secretary of State's Law Enforcement Division with the help of Maine State Police, the Maine Attorney General's office, and now, as you said, the FBI. Secretary of State Shenna Bellows says it's standard practice to reach out to state and federal law enforcement partners.
To any bad actor involved, you will be caught and you will be punished.
Secretary of State Shenna Bellows addressing the media in person for the first time since a Newburgh woman says she found hundreds of 2025 ballots in an Amazon package.
Any ballots that move outside of the chain of custody cannot be used for voting.
Bellows says on Tuesday her office was notified that the city of Ellsworth received 2 boxes of ballots as planned, but were short 250 ballots. That same day, a woman in Newburgh says she received 250 ballots in her Amazon delivery. Newburgh and Ellsworth are less than 40 miles apart. Bellows says her office and law enforcement were not notified by Newburgh town leaders until the following day.
The unnamed woman's legislator and a conservative blogger were contacted and notified of events, but at no point on Tuesday did anyone in Newburgh contact the Secretary of State's Elections Division or law enforcement.
Secretary Bellows' press conference was well attended this afternoon, including by lawmakers, staff, and those who are working on the Yes on Question 1 campaign to require voter ID and make other changes to Maine's elections.
What happened? Are there ballots out there is what I'm hearing about a lot. And, what are we going to do to make sure that this election is secure?
Bellows says the ballots that turned up in Newburgh cannot be used to cast a vote. And Ellsworth received 250 new ballots and now has its full allocation. There are a handful of small Maine towns that have not yet received their ballots because of their limited office hours. But Bellows says every other community has the ballots they need now. Live in studio, I'm Jackie Mundry for Maine's Total Coverage.
Now, this is such an important story that I want to loop in another report about where this stands, just to get a different angle and a different complexion on this story. So let's take a look at this other report. Again, we know what happened. You've seen the ballots. You've seen that were in somebody's Amazon package. How do they get there? Who knows? That's what the FBI investigation hopefully is going to help us discover. The Maine Attorney General is saying that those ballots are disqualified. Well, yeah, of course they're disqualified now, right? Oh, well, they would have been disqualified anyway because they broke the chain of custody. What? Anyway, let's take a look at this other report just to get a different complexion on this story.
Secretary of State Shenna Bellows is answering some questions about an ongoing ballot investigation. Last week, a woman in Newburgh allegedly received 250 absentee ballots in an Amazon package. On the same day, the city of Ellsworth reported absentee ballots were missing from a delivery. News Center Maine's Sam Olson tells us more.
It is true that the number of ballots missing in Ellsworth corresponds to the number of ballots received in Newburgh.
But Bellows could not confirm the ballots missing in Ellsworth were the ones delivered in Newburgh, about 40 miles away. Bellows says the woman didn't contact police or the Secretary of State's office when it happened.
The Newburgh town office called the Elections Division at 8 a.m. promptly on Wednesday morning to report the ballots received.
Bellows says detectives from her office then went and secured the ballots. She fielded a lot of questions from reporters, and in most cases, they were questions she said she could not answer.
There's an ongoing investigation, and I cannot speak to details at that time.
She did say, however, that her office's law enforcement division is leading the investigation, working with the Attorney General's office, Maine State Police, the FBI, and the U.S. Postal Service investigation team.
Whatever happened last week, and we will find out what happened, will not impact our election.
She also says she has full confidence law enforcement will find those responsible and says any bad actor involved will be punished. Meanwhile, Bellows says at this point there are 4 packages of ballots out for delivery by the Postal Service to 4 Maine towns. She says every other municipality in Maine has received their expected ballots.
That was Sam Olson reporting. Bellows would not estimate how long the investigation is expected to take.
Now, as I said earlier, there are at least 2 different things going on, one of which is the Trump administration is suing Maine and other states to get more access to their voting rolls. Now, I am going to show you real quick a quick clip about this. I chose Oregon. Now, you might say, hey, we're talking about Maine. Why choose an Oregon clip? Because I've shown Maine clips in the past, okay? I'm just showing this Oregon clip to just give you the sense that this is not just something limited to Maine. These states are resisting turning over this information. And in this report, the lady is also going to say that not only Oregon, but Maine. I'm telling you that it's not just Oregon and Maine, though. There are multiple states, I think up to 6 or more states where the Trump administration is trying to get this information. And the states are resisting. Let's take a look.
Meantime, the Trump administration is suing Oregon and the state of Maine because they say the secretaries of state failed to provide voter information. In June, the Justice Department filed a statement of interest into Oregon's voting system with the Secretary of State's office. The DOJ wanted full names, birth dates, addresses, driver's license numbers, and social security numbers for every Oregon voter. They also asked what the state has been doing to keep ineligible voters off the rolls and why Oregon has a voter registration percentage that's much higher than the national average. Secretary Tobias Reed rejected the Justice Department's request last month, saying that doing so could violate Oregon's privacy laws. Reed joined our team on Straight Talk after that decision.
The federal government is exceeding their authority in this regard. They're entitled to public records like anyone else, and if they want to fill out the form and pay the fee, we'll provide them that public record. But it does not include social security numbers, dates of birth, signatures, driver's license information.
The DOJ says Oregon is violating the National Voter Registration Act, the Help America Vote Act, and the Civil Rights Act, and claims, without elaborating, that Oregon provided identical information to a private organization but is refusing to hand it over to the DOJ. Reed said today in a statement that if the president wants to use the DOJ to go after his political opponents and undermine our elections, I look forward to seeing them in court. I stand by my oath to the people of Oregon, and I will protect their rights and privacy. And finally, all of this comes as the Maine voter goes to the polls or absentee ballot because I think absentee voting has already started. But they go to the polls in November, and they're going to be answering question number 1. Question 1 is about voter ID and the type of ID that you may need to carry with you to the voting booth in order to cast your ballot. So as I mentioned earlier, not only is it the Trump administration that's trying to get its hands on voter rolls from Maine, and Maine is resisting, along with other states resisting that, but also Maine itself internally is trying to decide, do they want to require people to have ID in order to cast a ballot?
Less than a month away from Election Day, and as we've been reporting, Maine voters will be weighing in this year on 2 referendum questions.
Question 1 will ask if Mainers want to join most other states in requiring a photo ID to vote, among other changes.
Let's get to our political reporter Jackie Mundry joining us here tonight to explain what else question 1 would do. And Jackie, there's a lot to it.
Yeah, John, Megan, Maine currently requires an ID in order to register to vote, but not actually to cast a ballot. Instead, when you head to the polls, you just have to tell the election worker your name and address. Question 1 would require a photo ID and make a number of other election-related changes.
It's a common sense, policy that over 80% of Americans have shown to support.
Question 1 is a clear attack on Maine's absentee voting system.
Question 1 would require a person to show a photo ID to get a ballot. IDs accepted include a driver's license, a non-driver ID card, a passport, a military ID, or an interim identification card, which is a document from the Secretary of State's office that contains all the same information as a driver's license. If someone doesn't have an identification card, this referendum would direct the state to provide them one for free.
They don't take student IDs. They don't take Wabanaki tribal IDs. And that's telling you that they don't want those folks to be able to vote with the IDs that they use in their everyday life.
To register to vote in Maine, a person can use a driver's license, passport, the last 4 digits of their social security number, a military ID, birth certificate, social security card, a student ID, or a federally recognized tribal ID. There are also changes being proposed to the absentee ballot process.
Our proposal does move up the ending of the absentee period, early voting period, by 2 days.
Absentee ballot voting currently ends Thursday before Election Day. If question 1 passes, it would end the Tuesday before. Other changes include only allowing 1 drop box in each city or town. Currently, the only 2 municipalities with 2 drop boxes are Portland and Orono. This proposal would no longer allow a person to request an absentee ballot over the phone or enroll in ongoing absentee ballot voting.
Most people don't even know, for example, ongoing absentee ballots program. Most voters, that's a brand new program most voters don't even know about it.
Another piece of the more than 20-part bill would change how ballots are removed from absentee drop boxes. Currently, the municipal clerk or 2 designees are responsible for emptying ballot boxes. This proposal would require a bipartisan team of election officials, but it's not clear how many people or which parties should be a part of the team. Those in favor of this bill say Maine needs this in order to keep elections safe.
Maine has historic, participation in really good elections, but we can always make things better.
While those opposed say this will make it harder for thousands of Mainers to cast their ballots.
In 2024, almost 45% of voters, including 60% of seniors, used the absentee voting system to cast their ballot. If question 1 passes, it will make it harder and in some cases impossible for those voters to participate in our democracy.
Voter ID for Me, the group proposing question 1, challenged the wording of the question as it'll appear on the ballot, calling it partisan. This is the longest question to ever appear on a Maine state ballot. The voter ID language is at the very end of the question. Voter ID for Me did not win in court, so the question written by Secretary of State Shenna Bellows will be upheld. Live in studio, I'm Jackie Mundry for Maine's Total Coverage.
So you could have predicted that the Trump administration would have launched voting-related challenges to states after 2020, right? So this is no surprise. This is not a big surprise to anybody. But what is a surprise is when you go out to your Amazon package and you have 250 ballots in your Amazon package. That's surprising. So y'all, the FBI is involved. We have the lawsuits raging. We have Maine that's about to make a decision as to the voter ID. So we have a lot going on with this. So the question for you today is, what do you think is the explanation about these ballots? How did this come to be? Do you think somebody who wants to influence question number 1 may have done this? Do you think somebody who wants to influence Maine to turn over its voting rolls may have done this? Was this an honest mistake? What do you think? Let me know down in the comments what your thoughts are. But before you do, please stop, hit the share button, share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all of your favorite social mediums. And yes, I did say mediums. It's the way I like to do my thing, okay? And if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. For my people with a retirement, check out the first link down in the description, Paralegold, PARALEGOLD.com. Protect your retirement from the upsies, downsies, roundsies, and the roundsies. And you can speak to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals at 844-651-8334. Give them a call, y'all. They'll hook you up. Finally, if you'd like to see our second channel where we comment on stories that we normally would not comment on this channel, it's the Paralegal or PIW Reacts channel. Click on the video on your screen now. It'll take you there. Make sure you subscribe, y'all. When you get to that channel, just go ahead and subscribe right away, like the video, and then you'll be in the algorithm for all our additional content. Thank y'all for watching. Love y'all, and we'll see you back in the next one.